Hi, everyone. Welcome back. This is the episode on experiencing innovation in entrepreneurial leadership. Today, I will be discussing relationships, your relationships, and conflict resolution. Now, of course, we want the relationships in innovation, entrepreneurial leadership that we can develop, we can build, and we can nurture into meaningful and trusting relationships. And in fact, I think that that's one of the areas that we really need to focus on based on what it is that our creative, innovative idea, service, or product is doing. And of course, the support system that surrounds that. But before I go further into that, the number one key for success is to have a support system. And that support system can consist of people who are resource providers for you, but also it consists of those people who you might not see for that often actually, but somehow they come to mind or a thought comes to mind from your experience with them, and they're a part of your support system. They might not even know it, but that's what I mean by having a support system. Because innovation and entrepreneurial leadership, for the most part, people are going into something, and when people first experience something that hasn't been already fully completed and tested, and it's amazing and it works, when they first see that, unless they themselves are innovators and entrepreneurs, they're so busy with their life, their work, and that's just not an area of their specific interest. And they can just be quite mean, actually, and be very unsupportive and really just tell you things and laugh at you and even look at you like, who are you to be an innovator or entrepreneur? What background, what credentials you have. And fortunately, we live in a country and an economy where you don't need any credentials and background to be an innovator and entrepreneur. What you do need are all the different things that I've been talking about in this video series on innovation and entrepreneurial leadership. So the traits of an innovator and entrepreneurial leader are different. They have to be different, just like the traits of someone working a job in a company in a specific role at a company position is different. And just like being an intrapreneur, there are a lot of intrapreneurs who are very innovative and entrepreneurial within companies. In fact, that's where a lot of companies are going, because they find that that's the only way that they can continue to build and grow. And so it's essential that you have that support system. And to realize that, first of all, one of the things that you have to have a relationship with is just with yourself. You need to believe and have confidence in yourself much greater than anyone else could possibly do. Now, it's very good to have coaches and other people who also have belief and confidence in you. But however, you're the main driver here. You're the leader of this. And so you have a creative, innovative idea. You've got a dream. You've got a vision. You've got a mission. You need to use your communication skills so that you can form a team, whatever that team may be, whether it's you may be one person, but still you have a support system that's part of your team. And then, of course, you want to be able to execute. And so these are a lot of very, very essential ingredients or traits that are a framework for entrepreneurial or innovation success. And so that's essential. And so when you're going through this, you need to realize that you have different types of relationships. Yes, we want the relationships we can build and grow in a meaningful and trusting way, sure. But we also have relationships, whether they are the macro relationships, the family members, the people in our lives, close friends, etc., who are really more focused on our macro life, on the big things in life. Spending time with us, family events, going on vacation, things like that, hanging out, cookouts, all of those kind of things. And those people it would be nice for them to be supportive and encouraging and very positive towards your idea. But again, I wouldn't count on it. In fact, if you're going through this thinking that they should be just because they're close to you, that's something you need to filter out right away because it's just reality. And it's just like that. So that's important for you to realize. Also, another thing that's important for you to realize is tell yourself the right story. So stop telling yourself, if you are, that you don't have the relationships, or that, oh yeah, I've heard about innovators and entrepreneurial leadership and being an entrepreneur, and I know I want to do it, but I know that I've got to like go through the hard stuff. And you've got this story in your mind that it's so hard, and it can be very hard and very difficult. In fact, I won't be here telling you it's easy. It's not. It is simple though. And if you do it the right way and you learn and have the right tools and skills and get the right people to help and support, then it becomes simpler and it becomes sometimes easy and more fulfilling, fun, and enjoyable. And so a lot of times when people read those stories, the reason that the entrepreneur or innovator is sharing those stories is because at that time they did not have the tools and the skills that they needed. They had to shift and become a different person. They had a lot more to learn. And as you keep going, you'll always be learning. There's no way you can get to the next level of success without learning something else, without shifting who you are as a person in some capacity. That's just reality. And so realize that that's where a lot of those stories are stemming from. And so the relationships that I'm focusing on today, as far as conflict resolution, needing conflict resolution, are the intrusive relationships in your innovation and entrepreneurial leadership. Those are the relationships I'm focusing on. Toxic relationships, you should never have a toxic relationship. In fact, everything that we're talking about here is to prevent a relationship from becoming toxic, but you should never let a relationship get to that point. Now, intrusive relationships are whether they're in person, they're intrusive, or they're intrusive in the sense on your time, or they're intrusive in the sense a negative thought or image based on a comment or something somebody said, or the way they looked at you towards your idea or what it is that you're trying to do. And just realize this. Number one is that share the right things with the right people at the right time. Not everything is supposed to be shared. I know we're in an economy, especially digitally, where things can be shared so easily, and I love that. There's specific things that are just relevant to specific people, and a lot of times they're relevant to them at a specific time. And so keep that in mind. Also realize that certain people or specific people need to see things, and some people don't need to see things. And you have to realize that and filter out what someone needs to see and what they don't need to see. That's also very important. And so your innovation and entrepreneurial leadership and your life in general would be a lot better without these intrusive relationships, right? Whether they're in person or whether they're thoughts or images of someone. And so one of the ways to help in this area is to use amazing thoughts and words. Language is so robust and there's such a great vocabulary. In fact, vocabulary is the number one skill that's been studied that determines success besides being healthy. And so you want to be able to use amazing thoughts and words when you're communicating with people, not just in innovation and entrepreneurial leadership, but just in anything you do. Try to be very positive or be very positive, and you'll see it plays such a huge difference in your energy, in your capacity, in your ability to accomplish things. And so that is essential, and it's absolutely free. It really is no charge. It's just that do you put it into use, implement it? I'm telling you, it will make a world of difference in a very positive way. Now, the other area or way is to understand those macro and micro people, and that sometimes people are both on the macro level and the micro level, obviously. And then you have your support system, but then also for those people that are being intrusive, well, your time obviously is priceless. Everyone's is. And so just cut back on them and don't return their call. Don't be as readily available as you used to be for them. And they'll start to get the idea, and that's just reality. And someone asked me before, what's your criteria on like whether you're helping someone or working with someone or taking engagement or whatever it may be that you're doing, go out to eat and whatever. And my only criteria is if they respect me. Because if they don't respect me, then that's just going to go into an intrusive type of relationship right away. I mean, there's not even really any prevention occurring there. And so a lot of intrusive relationships are relationships that we really want and need. Their family, their close friends, their colleagues, their clients. It could be anybody. And I'm not saying that those relationships are not needed. What I'm saying is that by using amazing thoughts and words, using vocabulary, you can make those relationships non-intrusive. Therefore, your innovation and entrepreneurial leadership would be that much better. And that's the real skill people have and use their communication skills when they're building and growing a meaningful and trusting relationship with someone. So that's essential. And many of you know that sometimes you might have a partner, or you might have more than one partner, or a team that you're working with, and you're there from an outside perspective looking at a relationship, and two people are in a conflict that needs conflict resolution, an intrusive type of relationship. And so one example is two partners maybe arguing, and you're a third, and you're looking, and basically all you need to do is say amazing words, amazing words. And they'll just stop and they'll realize and get out of that frame of mind, and they'll correct themselves. They'll self-correct, and they'll realize how they're not communicating well. And that works so often. You don't need to tell them what to say or not to say that. None of that. Just say the words, amazing words, amazing words. And if they look at you funny and like this, like, huh, say, use amazing words, or use amazing words. And they'll get the idea. And so that's essential, because obviously you need communication, you need teamwork and being a team in order to take your innovation and entrepreneurial leadership to the next level. Additionally, you've heard of and you've seen and you might have even experienced my leadership or my advanced leadership conflict resolution tool. And a lot of it's based on using it for all types of activities. I use it for conflict resolution in relationships. I use it for idea generation, for innovation. I use it for team communication. So I use it for a lot of different things. And that's when I have two chairs back to back. And so you're sitting with your back to each other, and then you're not allowed to cuss. That's another thing. When you're working and building a relationship and you're wanting to resolve an intrusive relationship or a conflict, don't cuss, because when you use expletives, it just creates a heightened emotion. And like I said, use vocabulary, use your word choice, and it really will help to defuse the situation, to lower the emotion, to get the emotional intelligence the right degree that it needs to be. And so that's essential. But going back to my advanced tool, that tool I've used for all types of people, all type of relationships, all types of situations. And I've also used it in innovation and entrepreneurial leadership and for team communication. And it has rules, and of course you would need to be trained for it. And usually people will come to me and do it. You can see my video and you can try to do it on your own. It's better than nothing and it looks easy, but really you need someone with expertise. And if you want to use it in your company or in your business or wherever or whatever you're doing for your team, then I would need to really train you on how to use it. But then, of course, there are always those situations where you need an outside perspective. You need an outside person with that expertise to come and help. And that's what I do for people who are innovators and entrepreneurs, to help them with idea generation, to help them with communication, to help them take an idea from its beginning stages and nurture it and develop, build, and grow it, and be able to advance further that way. And so all of these are essential. So some things do happen, and those intrusive relationships are really just intrusive thoughts or images that come to mind. And so I have some phrases that may help you. One is work in the moment. So if you're at work and you're experiencing something like that, just think to yourself, work in the moment. Or if you're there and you need to perform on something, you can say perform in the moment. Or if you're out somewhere and you're playing with something, I don't know what you're doing precisely, but you could just say play in the moment. And then, of course, if you are at home, and you all know this from previous videos, at home, most likely you're not, your loved ones and people in close to you are not that interested in all the micro things related to your innovation and entrepreneur leadership. So when you're at home, have the thought of live in the moment. Live in the moment. So those phrases should really, really help you to help you with your conflict resolution, with your relationships, those intrusive relationships, whether they're in person or whether they're intrusive thoughts or intrusive images that come to mind, that basically diminish your energy, they diminish your capacity, they might even drain you. They might even force you to start having dialogue with yourself on, I can't see why this person isn't more supportive or helpful or encouraging. And you just don't need that dialogue, because if you're having that kind of dialogue, you're wasting that capacity towards actually experiencing more fulfillment, fun, and enjoyment doing the innovation and entrepreneurial leadership that you want to do. That's what I have for you today. I hope you have a meaningful trigger set up for this evening. I know I do. I've got something I'm really looking forward to this evening. And for those of you who are NBA basketball fans, that's going to be an amazing series. I watched the game last night, and first half, it was just like, wow, both teams just came out and just were right there. And then, of course, Golden State pulled away. So again, I hope you have a meaningful trigger, and I hope those intrusive relationships with the techniques and the conflict resolution tools that I just gave you will really help you. So really remember, if you don't remember anything from this session, remember this: use amazing thoughts and words.